Today we will discuss about binding energy. In my previous class, I have already discussed about mass defect. Mass defect is nothing but the difference between the sum of the masses of the nucleons to the total mass of the nucleus. And the mathematical expression we have already like that ZMP plus A minus Z Mn minus M whole into C square. Here we have to discuss how the nucleons are bind together. Inside the nucleus there are protons and neutrons. Though protons are the same charge particle, so there is a force of repulsion between the protons. But after that, how the nucleons bind together? There must be something which is responsible to bind the nucleons together. That means the protons and neutrons. That is nothing but the binding energy. And we can say when we just detached the nucleons, that means proton from neutron, some amount of the energy will be released. That amount of energy is required to bind the nucleons together, and the amount of the energy is considered as binding energy. That means the loss of the mass which occurs in mass defect that appears in the form of binding energy. So here it is written also, the mass defect appears in the form of binding energy. That means the mass which is just released, that means defected, that mass is just converted to energy according to Einstein's mass energy equivalence relation. So it is the amount of the energy released when protons and neutrons are get separated in a nucleus. Or in the other sense we can say, that means when the two nucleons, that means protons and neutrons, get detached, some amount of the energy is released. That amount of energy must be required to bind that proton and neutron together. So the amount of the energy, in the other sense we can say the definition like that, the amount of energy required to bind the nucleons together is known as binding energy. Again I have to repeat, you just observe that we can say the amount of the energy released when protons and neutrons are get separated in a nucleus is known as binding energy. Like that also in other sense we can say the amount of energy required to bind the nucleons together is known as binding energy. And according to Einstein's mass energy equivalence relation, we know the mass is converted to energy. So here binding energy EV, symbol is written as E subscript V, E for energy, V for binding energy, equal to mc square, but here the mass defect is there, so delta m into c square. For delta m, this is ZMP, mass of the proton, plus A minus Z into Mn, mass of the neutron, minus capital M. Here one thing is missing, you have to see from the expression of mass defect, this thing you have to put there, that del M equal to ZMP plus A minus Z Mn minus M. This silly mistake occurs, minus M is not there, but you have to write the expression for del M here, that is ZMP plus A minus Z Mn minus M whole into C square. This is the expression of binding energy. And nuclear binding energy is just the indicator how well a nucleus is held together. The nucleus which possesses more amount of the binding energy that is strongly bonded, and the nucleus which possesses less amount of the energy that is weakly bonded. So we can say that nuclear binding energy is nothing but an indicator to show how a nucleus is held together, and binding energy per nucleon is a measure of the binding between the constituent of the nucleons. That means how the nucleus, inside the nucleus, how the protons and the neutrons are bind together. This thing shows us the binding energy, and this binding energy per atomic mass. From this graph you can easily observe that this is a graph between binding energy per nucleon with mass number. A curve is drawn here, that binding energy per nucleon is the average energy per nucleon needed to split the nucleus into its individual nucleons. That means when we want to just detach that nucleons, that means protons and neutrons, the energy required, the binding energy per nucleon is just the average energy per nucleon. So here a graph is plotted between the binding energy per nucleon to the mass number A. The binding energy, just the curve is like this. From hydrogen to helium it is like this, then it is moved in the zigzag manner, then afterward it is just here ferrum, here, then slightly this is decreasing but not touched to zero, just slightly decreasing till uranium 238. So we can say that the mass number versus the binding energy per nucleon curve is like that, and in this curve the ferrum is at the highest point. That means it shows that ferrum will possesses maximum binding energy. That means the ferrum nucleus is more stable, and the energy of that ferrum nucleus is nearly 8 MeV, means 8 mega electron volt. You have to remember this thing. This is one of short question, that the binding energy curve, which nucleus possesses highest or maximum binding energy, that is ferrum. Here it is just increasing, slightly increasing till helium, carbon or sulfur, like that. That means oxygen 16 till 30 it is just increasing, then after maximum touch the peak point, and at the peak point ferrum is there, then afterwards it is decreasing, and for uranium it is less also. So observing this curve, we can conclude that for the nuclei of the middle mass number, just like middle mass number means the mass number between 30 to 170, the binding energy per nucleon is almost constant. From 30 to 170 means till to this till 170, this is almost constant. And for both lighter nuclei A less than 30, this one, that carbon, oxygen, and these are the A less than 30, and heavy nuclei, that A greater than 170, just like uranium 230, it is greater than, atomic mass number is greater than 170, because uranium has atomic mass number 238. So the binding energy per nucleon is lower. You just observe that here it is almost constant, this line is almost constant, and ferrum possesses the maximum binding energy, but from hydrogen to till the atomic mass less than 30, the binding energy is lower, and as well as when the atomic mass is greater than 170, the binding energy per the nucleon is also lower. Here the basic representation you can also observe from this clearly. This diagram you just see here, the atomic mass number is here 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, like that, and this is binding energy per particle MeV. This is just you see that the binding energy curve is slightly increasing Here till a equal to 30 it is lower, then it is just increasing, and at the peak point region of the greatest stability, the nucleus presenting here has greater stability, and it is almost all constant still here, and afterward for uranium it is just remaining constant, not touch the zero. You can observe clearly the picture of the binding energy curve. You have to remember one thing, that ferrum is in the maximum stability range, and it has greatest stability, and it possesses the binding energy nearly 8 MeV. Next come to other observations. What we have observed, that the force is sufficiently strong attractive to produce a binding energy of a few MeV per nucleon. So the force which is there between the proton and the neutron, it is a force sufficiently strong attractive to produce that binding energy, and there will be a gain in the overall binding energy when we move from the heavy nuclear region to the middle region. You can observe just like this, you can observe that when we are just moving, here is uranium, from uranium when we are moving to middle range, the energy is slightly increasing, and when we move from the heavy nuclear region to the middle region of the plot, so gain in the energy or in energy is increasing. And similarly there will be the gain in the overall binding energy when we move from the lighter nuclei to the heavier nuclei. This thing we can also observe. Here you just observe, when we are just moving from here, lighter nuclei are there, hydrogen, helium, lithium, just like you can observe hydrogen, helium, lithiums are there. When we are just moving from lighter nuclei towards here, the energy is slightly increasing to the middle range, and as well as when we are just moving from the heavy nuclei to this range, to this middle range, the energy is also increasing. So this thing we are observing from the graph, and the binding energy is very large for ferrum 56, that is 8 MeV. You have to remember. Then one question is there from mass defect, which I have already discussed in my previous class, that the mass defect is nothing but the sum of the masses of the proton plus sum of the masses of the neutron minus total mass of the nucleus. So one question is there, what is the binding energy per nucleon in helium-24? So for binding energy you have to calculate first the mass defect, because in the binding energy formula, binding energy equal to delta m into c square. So delta m is the mass defect, so you need the expression for delta m here. So given mass of helium-24 is here given in the question, that is 4.002604 mu, and mass of the proton is 1.007825 mu, and mass of the neutron is 1.008665 mu. And mass defect formula we know, Z into MP means number of the proton into mass of the proton, plus A minus Z into Mn means the number of the neutron into mass of the neutron minus total mass of the nucleus. So you have to here, I have clearly solved here, that for helium-24 proton is Z equal to 2. You have to observe Z equal to 2. So here Z into MP, mass of the proton is given 1.007825. So mass of the proton Z into MP means 2 into this much. This thing will become this much, and like that, plus A minus Z. A is a 4 and Z is 2. So 4 minus 2, it will become how much? It will become also 2. So for the neutron number, 4 minus 2 equal to 2. So for the neutron number A minus Z into Mn, that means 2 into 1.008665 mu. and this is the mass defect. First we have to calculate the mass defect, and you have to remember one thing, that I have already calculated that delta m into c square, that energy 1 MeV, that is means 1 AMU is 931 MeV. I have already calculated in one of my previous class. So binding energy, for binding energy delta m into c square, so delta m is this much 0.030376 into 931 MeV. That 931 MeV you have to just multiply, so it will become 28.2828 MeV. And if we want to calculate the binding energy per nucleon means nucleon is the proton number plus neutron number. So here proton number plus neutron number is 4, that means atomic mass number. So we have to calculate the binding energy per nucleon like that, 28.28 divided by 4, so it will become 7.07 MeV, mega electron volt. A question for you, you have to calculate another problem, the binding energy, find the binding energy of carbon 612. Here you have to remind one thing, that Z is 6, proton is 6 and atomic mass is 12, so neutron number will become 12 minus 6, how much? 6. And mass of the neutron is given here, 1.0087 U means AMU, atomic mass unit. Mass of the proton is 1.0078 U and mass of the carbon atom is 12.0004 AMU. So you have to just follow the previous method, how we have calculated the binding energy per nucleon of helium, and you will just solve. First calculate the mass defect. How you have to calculate? Just add the mass of the proton plus mass of the neutron and subtract the whole mass of the nucleus, and then just in the mass defect you have to multiply that 931 MeV. You can get binding energy, and binding energy per nucleon you have to divide 12 here, because here the atomic mass number is 12. Then come to the most important topic, that is the nuclear force. You have already observed 4 basic forces in the nature, that is strong interaction, weak interaction, gravitational interaction and electromagnetic interaction. Gravitational interaction you have already know. About electromagnetic interaction you have some idea also, that is electrostatic force including there. And weak interaction you will study later, that weak interaction means when the beta decay occurs, that means in a process when a nucleus just decays, that is known as the beta decay process, that is the weak interaction. But almost all, one thing is that the strong interaction, that means strong force. What is the strongest force in the nature? If we ask this question to anyone, the answer will be the nuclear force, because nuclear force is the almost strongest force in the nature, which is probably 100 times stronger than the electrostatic force and 10 to the power 38 times stronger than the gravitational force. You have already know about the gravitational force in your 11th class, and here you have got some idea about the electrostatic force, which is also known as the Coulomb's force in the chapter electrostatics. So now we have to discuss about the strongest force in the nature, which is the nuclear force. But these nuclear forces are very complex in the nature. Just like we have know the gravitational force has a just direct expression, F equal to G m1 m2 by r square, like that. And for electrostatic force, F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. But here nuclear force has not such type of the expression. It is just are very complex complex in nature, and unlike Coulomb's law or the Newton's law of the gravitation, there is no simple mathematical form of the nuclear force, and nuclear forces are non-central force. That means you have just remembered that in Newton's law of gravitation, here one mass is m1, here a mass m2, and the separation between them is r, just depends upon the central distance. And for the Coulomb's force, like that, q1 q2, two charges are there, like that. But here nuclear forces have no just simple mathematical form, that like the Coulomb's force, yeah, gravitational force. So these forces are the non-central forces. And the for average mass nuclei, the binding energy per nucleon is approximately 8 MeV. I have already told that for ferrum 56, the nuclear binding energy is much more, that is 8 MeV, and much larger than the binding energy in the atoms and nuclear binding energy. So to bind a nucleus together, there must be a strong nuclear forces of attraction. So you have to remember one thing, that inside the nucleus there are so many protons, and according to electrostatics we know same charges repel each other. So proton must repel to proton. So how the nucleus exists? So therefore, to bind the nucleus there must be present one nuclear forces of the attraction which hold together the nucleons, that means neutrons and protons. You have to remind one thing here, that the protons have some electrostatic repulsion among them, but still then the nucleus exists. That means there is something which is responsible to bind the nucleons together, and that something is nothing but the nuclear force, and the nuclear force is responsible to bind a nucleus together that must be strong, that means in the tiny nucleus of an atom, to overcome the repulsion between the positively charged proton. So this thing you have to remember, that inside the nucleus so many protons are there. The protons have some electrostatic repulsive force. Still then the nucleus exists. That means there is another force, which is the strong nuclear force, which is responsible to bind the nucleons together, to bind the protons and neutrons together. So many facts about nuclear binding forces are obtained from a variety of the experiment carried out during 1930 to 1950. We have to summarize this just below. What are the facts which are discussed regarding the nuclear binding forces? The first one is, nuclear forces are the strongest force in the nature because of nucleons are held together in a nucleus in spite of the electrostatic force of repulsion between the protons. This thing I have already discussed, that though there are some electrostatic repulsive force between the protons, still then the nucleons are bind together. That means there is something which is responsible to bind the nucleons together inside the nucleus, that is nothing but the nuclear force, and the magnitude of that nuclear force is 10 to the power 38 times stronger than the gravitational forces and 100 times that of the electrostatic forces. These are the very important properties of the nuclear forces, and sometimes maximum times comes in the annual CHS exam, that write the properties of the nuclear forces and what is nuclear force, like that. You have to remember, this is one of the short question, but you have to remember, this is very important. So nuclear forces are independent of charge. One thing you have to notice, that the Coulomb's force depend upon the nature of the charge, and but here the nuclear forces independent of the charge. That means in proton neutron proton neutron pair, the force is same. The nuclear forces, so one thing, the nuclear forces act between a neutron, a proton neutron pair, a pair of neutrons, a pair of the protons have same strength. So one thing you have to remember, that nuclear forces are independent of the charge. And next thing is, the nuclear forces are very short range forces. That means it act within a very short range, and from the rough plot of the potential energy between the two nucleons as a function of the distance, you have to so here one thing is shown here like that. The nuclear energy for the graph is like that. it is just this is the means r distance, and this is the potential energy. Here one thing, that the force, nuclear force, is just proportional to 1 by r to the power 6. Like that, the Coulomb's force proportional to 1 by r square. Gravitational force is also F proportional to 1 by r square. They are the forces, we can say that the depends upon the square, but here the nuclear force depends upon F proportional to 1 by r to the power 6. So they are known as the inverse square force also, we can say, but here the nuclear force depend upon F proportional to 1 by r to the power 6, and the potential energy of a pair of the nucleons as a function of the separation, and greater separation the forces is attractive, and for the separation less than r naught, in r naught, if less than r naught, the process is strongly repulsive, and the potential energy is a minimum distance of 0.8 Fermi from this force is attractive, and the distance larger than 0.8 Fermi. Fermi order 1 Fermi equal to 10 to the power minus 15 meter. It is just in the Fermi order 0.8 Fermi, and repulsive for the distance less than 0.8 Fermi. Nuclear forces are negligible when the distance between the nucleons is more than 10 Fermi. So when it is just more than 10 Fermi, that means maximum distance, nuclear forces is negligible, because here one thing is there, the nuclear forces are very short range forces, they are acting very short range, so it do not depend upon very larger distance. When it is just more than 10 Fermi, nuclear forces is very negligible, and within this smaller distance nuclear forces is effective, and which is regarded as the nature's strong force of interaction. So this is all about the nuclear forces of interaction, and which is